Disgusting, the reaction of those bereaved in the COVID pandemic as they watch a damning new Partygate video.
Instagram Live.
As long as we don't scream that we're like,
The footage appears to show Conservative staff drinking, dancing and mocking the rules they were breaking at a Christmas party.
People were dying on their own, struggling to breathe. You know, just how did you even feel like partying? Just how?
Also tonight, dozens of children are among those killed at a school attacked by militants in Uganda. And the King's first birthday parade, watched by the next generation of royals.
This is ITV News with Rebecca Barry.
Good evening. We know about the parties that went on in the corridors of power during lockdown, but tonight, for the first time, we can watch the excruciating details. A video obtained by the Mirror newspaper appears to show staff at Conservative campaign headquarters in London dancing, drinking and laughing at the COVID rules they were breaking. At the time, December 2020, millions of families were facing Christmas apart and indoor socialising was largely banned. Our political correspondent, Carl Dinnan, has the latest.
Partying like there was no tomorrow, partying like there were no rules. But you can even see the social distancing signs on the wall. And they knew it was wrong.
as long as we don't scream that we're like,
When this was filmed at Conservative Party headquarters in December 2020, indoor socialising was banned. This party was one we knew about. A photograph of it had been published in 2021. It was investigated by the police. The Tory chairman at that time had this to say.
It was wrong, it was appalling, and it's absolutely right that the people were punished.
The Tories did discipline 4 of their staff who were at the party. But to see it like this for the COVID bereaved is gut-wrenching.
That is them thinking they are better than us. You know, people were dying on their own, struggling to breathe. You know, how did you even feel like partying? Just how?
And yet this week, 2 of the attendees, including this man, Ben Mallet, were given honours in Boris Johnson's resignation list.
And Rishi Sunak, having okayed Boris Johnson's honours list, must now surely regret that some of the people who have honours are in that video.
The police initially took no action after investigating the photograph of this party. Now the Mirror newspaper has obtained the video, the first video from any of the Partygate events. The police could take a different view.
And Carl joins us now. Carl, just how damaging is this for the Conservatives?
I think it is quite, partly because this was at Conservative Central Office. This is not one of the parties Boris Johnson was at. It didn't happen in Number 10. This was the Conservative Party, so it can't just be kind of brushed aside mentally as something that 2 prime ministers ago was involved in and he's now left Parliament and it's all over. This was the party that Rishi Sunak is now the leader of, and we know that voters are angry with that party regardless of what they feel about him after disastrous local elections. And as you say, just seeing it, I mean, this wasn't just a few quiet drinks. It was excruciating. It was a right out knees up at a terrible time for the country. So I think it's damaging.
And separately tonight, Carl, yet another resignation.
Yeah, so this is David Warburton, the Conservative MP for Somerton and Frome in Somerset. He's been accused of a variety of allegations and has written a very angry letter tonight, resigning, saying they are malicious allegations. The investigation has been flawed. It's been done, most of it without him even knowing what he's being accused of. And so he's standing down with immediate effect. It's the 4th by-election the Conservatives will be facing. He won the seat with a majority of 20,000 over the Liberal Democrats, but tonight they've already said they are the challengers. They fancy their chances in this by-election. And I'm driven to reflect that when Boris Johnson led his party into this parliament, he had a majority of 80. It is now down to 60 and heading lower.
Carl, an awful lot to digest tonight. Thank you very much. A man has been remanded in custody, accused of murdering 3 people in a series of attacks in Nottingham earlier this week. Valdo Kalokana appeared at Nottingham Magistrates Court this morning and spoke only to give his name, using an alias of Adam Mendes. He's accused of stabbing 2 students, Barnaby Webber and Grace O'Malley Kumar, and school caretaker Ian Coates. Callum Watkinson reports.
It's 4 days since Barney Webber, Grace O'Malley Kumar and Ian Coates were stabbed to death on the streets of Nottingham. Today, not far from the places they fell, the man accused of killing them stood and faced the charges. 31-year-old Valdo Kalokane was told he is accused of 3 murders and remanded in custody. During a short hearing here, Valdo Kalokane spoke 3 times, once to give his name as Adam Mendes, by which the magistrate said he is also known. Again, to confirm his date of birth, and again, to tell the court he has no fixed address. He is accused too of the attempted murders of 3 other people at whom it's claimed he drove a van in the city centre the same night. Today, a market for independent retailers went ahead in the square that has become the focus for Nottingham's grief. Kalokane was handcuffed before he left the dock and will appear next at the Crown Court on Tuesday. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
Teachers in England are to stage fresh strikes in their long-running dispute over pay. Members of the National Education Union will walk out on the 5th and 7th of July, causing disruption to schools shortly before the summer holidays. Police have named a 3-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl found dead along with their parents in a flat in West London. They've been identified as Michael and Monica Vlodachik, believed to be the parents of Maya and David. Children are among dozens of people killed in an attack on a school in western Uganda. Rebels linked to the so-called Islamic State group burnt school buildings and looted shops nearby. Vincent McAviney reports.
Injured but lucky to be alive. One of the few survivors of a brutal attack on his school in western Uganda. An Islamist rebel group called the Allied Democratic Forces had snuck across the border from the Democratic Republic of Congo a mile away. In the dead of night, late Friday, they struck the school, which housed around 60 pupils, burning buildings and detonating a bomb in a dormitory. Many of those who escaped the flames were shot or killed with machetes. At least 37 died and 6 girls were abducted. But the fire has made identifying human remains to work out what's happened to the pupils difficult.
It is not yet certain and confirmed because there could be others who ran into their homes and are not yet here. So the exact number is not yet, but that is suspicion. They are suspecting others to have been abducted according to those who survived.
8 survivors remain in critical conditions in hospital. Outside, family members nervously wait to find out any information on their missing children. The Ugandan army is now pursuing the insurgents towards a national park in the DRC, but they've managed years hiding in this mountainous region. Planes and helicopters are being deployed to help with the hunt and see if those abducted can be rescued. But it's emerged Ugandan authorities knew these so-called Islamic State-affiliated forces had crossed the border earlier in the week, leaving this devastated community wondering why action hadn't been taken sooner to prevent this tragedy. Vincent McAviney, ITV News.
England came up against an Australian fight back on day 2 of the first Ashes test. Stuart Broad raised the roof for Edgbaston this morning, taking 2 quick wickets. Despite that, Australia finished the day 82 behind on 311 for 5. And Scotland have taken a big step towards qualifying for next summer's Euros in Germany. Despite going a goal down against Norway in Oslo, they fought back to equalise in the 87th minute. And then in a dramatic climax, they scored an even later winning goal to spark some wild celebrations. 6 weeks since the day he was crowned, thousands lined the streets of central London again to see the King, this time to catch a glimpse of him on horseback in his first Trooping the Colour. Later, from the balcony of Buckingham Palace, the King and the royal family, including his grandchildren, were treated to a special fly-past in his honour, as Pablo Taylor reports.
Pomp and pageantry, this time with a very different method of transport. King Charles swapped golden carriage for horseback today as he took part in a tradition stretching back more than 300 years.
I'm hoping to see the new king, not just on the horse ride, but being celebrated for who he is and for what he represents.
Trooping the Colour is first believed to have been performed during the reign of Charles II and later became used as a way of celebrating the birthday of the sovereign. Today, 4 centuries on, and a new Charles is centre stage. This is a moment the King will have been looking forward to his entire life. And judging by the thousands that have shown up here today, it's a moment lots of other people have been excited about too.
We're from Melbourne, Australia, and we've come all the way we've organised our whole holiday around this event. So, yeah, we're really, really keen to see it.
Not since 1986 have crowds seen a monarch on horseback. Back then, it was a 60-year-old Queen Elizabeth II on her beloved black mare, Burmese. At 74, there are no signs the King is ready to give up this duty just yet. The ceremony ended with a spectacular flypast that was scheduled to take place during the coronation, but was delayed due to bad weather. Today presented no such problems, and the royal family watched on from the balcony of Buckingham Palace. This one of many events Charles is now able to enjoy as King. Pablo Taylor, ITV News.
And there's another celebration for the young royals tomorrow. It is, of course, Father's Day. Kensington Palace say they are delighted to release this photograph of the Prince of Wales and his 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, taken at Windsor earlier this year. The celebrations will probably be a bit more low-key than the ones today. And that's it for tonight from all of the team here. Good night.
Today we'll see warmer temperatures moving in from the east, especially around tea time. Heinz no added sugar beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
A very good evening to you. Staying warm, if muggy and humid, with an increased chance of thundery downpours in the next 24 hours, keeping us on our toes. Some sunshine, albeit limited and hazy, and showers and longer downpours drifting their way northwards and through parts of the east overnight. These moving their way in from the near continent come the small hours. Rumbles of thunder and intense downpours waking some of us up before dawn. And with that muggy, mild air, not slipping much below 16 or 17 degrees. An uncomfortable, stuffy night's sleep for some of us. Into the new day, those overnight showers and longer downpours continue across parts of northern England, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, some morning sunshine before a little more in the way of cloud cover and further downpours get going from the near continent. Some of these prolonged, intense and thundery once more, a deluge in places, the sunshine increasingly limited. But despite this, staying very warm with the muggy, humid air, highs of 25 degrees.
Heinz no added sugar beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent Boilers and Heat Pumps sponsors ITV London Weekend Weather.
Hello and a very good evening to you. Hope you're all keeping well. So overall it is looking fairly unsettled as we move our way into Sunday. You can see in the chart here, fairly messy across the UK. Fair few showers around at times. We've also got the system down towards the south here. We are keeping a close eye on that, but it will be working its way northwards throughout tonight and into tomorrow. And you can see there could be some hefty thundery downpours within it. Now, for the rest of tonight, well, there may be one or two showers. Don't be surprised if you do hear a little bit of thunder as we edge overnight. But for most of us, it will be dry. We've got some clear skies. That will allow a few pockets of mist and fog to form, and another warm night. Temperatures there between 15 and 17 degrees. So a warm start today on Sunday morning. Quite a bit of cloud across the capital and a few showers here and there. But for most of us, actually, a good deal of dry weather throughout the morning. Some bright or sunny spells and light winds. But you can see as the day continues, these showers will be feeding their way northwards. If you catch one, could be heavy, some hail and some thunder out there too. And those winds will strengthen during those showers too. But elsewhere, largely dry. For most of us, though, it will be warm and humid. Top temperature there, 25 degrees. Bye-bye.
Valent sponsors ITV London Weekend Weather.